Hi, it's Eric, and we're going to talk about the best dive watch you've never heard of. So, the watch is OWC. It stands for Orange Watch Company, and the gentleman who makes them, his name is Dan Falk. He's kind of like a mad scientist. So this watch is a really overbuilt diver. It's a 300-meter diver, but overbuilt in every way, shape, and form. From the lens is nearly 5 millimeters thick. The bracelet's 5 millimeters thick. There's torque screws that hold the bracelet together. And every link can be removed, not just the bottom 2 or 3. They also use torque screws and bars to connect the watch to the watch head instead of spring bars. The watch is also a real super compressor. So I think people get confused. There's compressor style watches and then there's actual compressor watches. Real compressor watches were started by a company called EPSA. And what it really means is that there's gaskets or springs that actually compress the deeper you go to make the watch more watertight. So the watch is amazing. I wouldn't even classify it as a micro brand. It's either a micro brand or a custom brand. You can contact Dan on a website. I don't know the website name, but I imagine it's OWC.com or something like that. And you can order it. Or as I said, you can look on the secondary market. New ones are around, I think, $1,795, $1,500, depending on the movement that you have. The two examples that I have two different movements. One has the Sellita SW300 chronometer grade elaborate, and the other one I have has a Soprod A10. Both of them consistently run 1 to 2 seconds plus 1 to 2 seconds. And that's years old. These watches are 5 years old or so. So they're amazing watches. We'll go into detail and I'll show you up close. Thanks. So here we are, OWC. I have two examples. They're both essentially the same watch, case, everything, except for the bezel, hands, and dial design. So I'll just use this one to talk about some of the specs. It is a 40 millimeter watch. It is 13 thick, and it is 50 to 51 from lug to lug. But the lugs, as you can see, they really droop down. They're really nice. And that's a soft case. And what I mean by a soft case is you can see it's a little rounded there. So it's a super comfortable watch. This is a 220 gram watch. If you want something light, this is not the watch to buy. If you want a serious diver, it's a 300-meter diver. And as I said, it's somewhat customizable. These hands I chose, things like that. So you can get a lot of different variations. You can even choose what movement. It depends what he's doing now, but they had a choice between the Soprod A10 and the Sellita SW300. The other watch that I have here, this one could only come with the SW300 chronometer grade elaborate. This one is the Soprod A10. It's an amazing watch. Everything is really great. The movement on the bezel is fantastic. Everything lines up. It's a custom watch, so you're really going to get attention to detail. And in speaking with that, look at this bracelet. This is thick. This is 5 millimeters thick, and these are torque screws that are in it. And every one can be taken out. Every single torque screw from the beginning to the end. It's not just the end that's adjustable. There's some things that people have a problem with, and I get it. I understand this. It's a butterfly clasp. It's super comfortable, but obviously to dive with, this isn't going to work. If you want something to go over a neoprene wetsuit, it's just not going to work. So I have put mine on an isoframe when diving, and it's amazing. It's the isoframe looks great even on it. It has these torque screws for attaching the bracelet to the head. So everything is really serious about this watch. And you can tell when you pick it up, but even the knurling 8 millimeter crown guard protection. The other one is a little different. In fact, it doesn't have any crown guards, which I kind of like. It has knurling on the crown, which is really cool. It's 8 millimeters. There's knurling around here as well. And it's, a captive bezel, both of them. So you see the screws that hold it on. The bezel's not going to get knocked off. Once again, talking about over-engineering. So it's a captive bezel. A few other companies do it, Breitling, a few others, but it's kind of rare. And this one has applied indices. It also has this world timer bezel. So essentially it's set in New York. I'm in New York City, but you can change it to wherever you're at, and you can figure out the time difference easily with this. And it has AM, PM structure. It's a really cool watch. This is a really beautiful watch, and even rarer than the other one. As I said, this one has the Sellita SW300, and I tell you, it keeps like +1, +2 every day. Both of them do. The one thing that Dan says that I think it's a pretty striking comment is that all watches obviously aren't perfect with timing. It's not about the accuracy. It's that the inaccuracy is accurate, which I really understand that. That when it's inaccurate and it's 1 or 2 seconds off, that it remains 1 or 2 seconds off. And he goes into ships' chronometers and how it wasn't allowed to be touched, when you're sailing, and only one person would have access to it because that person knew how much it was off. And, in using those, you could easily end up, totally off course. So it's the same idea he believes with a watch, that it's not just the accuracy, it's that the inaccuracy is accurate. It's an amazing watch. I love everything about this watch. People will have issues with the weight. Some people will. Once again, I don't understand that. So as I said, I think it's around $17.95 for them. I think this one was $17.95. I think this was like $15.95. I don't know what they're priced at now. This is an amazing watch in every regard. I can't say that enough. I love both of these watches. I will keep these. They'll never be sold. I've had them for a long while, and I do think that you should consider buying one of these watches if you can. I think the lume could be improved. Obviously, the non-world timer has a fully lumed bezel as well. The world timer does not and has applied indices. I do think both of them can be improved on. Here is the OWC on a 7-inch wrist, being a 40. The bracelet's non-tapering, but I absolutely love it. Fits really, really good, even on a 7-inch wrist. And question on a suit. And here it is with a suit. Easily fits under a cuff. It's a great watch to wear for everyday use even. I just love it. I think it's fantastic. So there's your suit shot. Let's go back up top. So there you have it. The watch is amazing in a lot of ways, as I showed you, but even the comfort of the watch is amazing. As I discussed, that case is kind of it's called a soft case sometimes. It wraps around and it's a little, looks softer or squished down instead of that blocky look that Rolex has and Tudor. It's a fantastic watch that you're not going to run into somebody that has it, but you will have people ask what it is. And the best thing is take it off and hand it to them. And they're like, oh my God. First of all, the weight. Secondly, the engineering. Third, the torque screws. Everything about this watch is amazing and well thought out. I'm a big fan, and I suggest if you like dive watches and you collect them or you want a watch that's different, I suggest you buy it. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe.